Okay, so I feel like there's been a lot of discussion in the news, um, and this is something that my clients in the past have expressed appreciation for, that I can break down some of the economic concerns that the news reports on, and break it down for them in kind of just relatable terms. And so I thought, well, I'm going to try this out, see how it goes, see kind of what the feedback is, and I'll go from there. So, if you guys don't know, I'm a big geek. I love economics. I hold my master's in econ, including also my bachelor's. So, I did not skip around in subject matters. I got both my undergrad and graduate degree in econ because I love it so much. So, geek. So, um, so that's where all of the information I'm going to be giving is going to be from that perspective, from an economic perspective. So, the first one I wanted to discuss was the big news that was hitting the airwaves this week so far was the whole military exercise that Russia was having in connection with China. So, this is not really a new relationship by any means. They have been basically very cordial with each other for a long, long time. That relationship between China and Russia have been there for years and years and years. So Russia has oil. China consumed a lot of its oil, and Russia was more than happy to take Chinese money. So that's where that relationship has been for a long time. So this is not a new development. The big concern that people have, that analysts have, both economic analysts and political analysts, the reason that this is a concern is that the trade war that China is in with the US right now, and it's not even a full-blown trade war yet. It's a little tit for tat right now, but it's not even a full-blown trade war. But the tiff that they are having um, uh, is what a lot of people consider to be the driving force for China to get more cozy with Russia. So that is a concern for a lot of reasons. We won't get into all of them, but it should be a concern for Russia, not so much for China, but for Russia. So let me explain why. So China is a big economy, second largest economy in the world. But although their economy is huge, it's not in a position right now to go into a full-on trade war with the US for just a whole host of various reasons. And we won't get into all of that either, because I'm trying to keep these videos down, to bare minimum. I don't want them to be overly long. So, because nobody wants to sit there and watch a video for 30 minutes. So, anyways, so there's a whole host of reasons why China really can't afford a trade war. Now, they can definitely throw some punches. Don't get me wrong on that. They are economic powerhouse, but they can't go the distance in the rounds. And that's where they stand right now. And so they are cozying up to Russia, and Russia is more than happy to get any attention in the media, but especially attention from China, because it makes a bigger splash. Russia is like the prom queen from high school who can't let go of high school. They're like, I'm still relevant. I'm still relevant. When in fact, really, the only reason that Russia is relevant is because they have oil. If there wasn't that, then really anything that they could manufacture or produce could be done from pretty much any other economy in the world. So there's nothing unique that Russia can produce that can't be done somewhere else, probably for even cheaper. It's just that they have so much bloody oil. So, So that relationship right now has been mutually beneficial. But I feel like Russia is so just determined to go back to the days of the USSR heydays when, it was a superpower and it was, the dominant power in the Asian continent, and it was this and that. They're so focused on getting back there that they don't realize it would be better if they moved towards a different format that didn't fail. Because if you remember, the USSR actually fell apart for, again, a whole host of reasons, which we won't get into right now, but it failed ultimately. And so instead of coming up with a different format that could really launch them into the 21st century, they're trying to get back to the old days, which is why I say they're kind of like the prom queen in high school who can't let go of high school. So that's where they stand. This is where it gets dangerous, really, for Russia to become more cozy with China. China is incredibly smart and incredibly ruthless in the way that they get things done. They want it done, it's going to happen. One way or the other, it's going to happen. And so right now, with the trade war heating up, they need other trade partners, other resources, and I would not be surprised, let me just put it this way, I would not be surprised one bit if China ends up basically reaping all the rewards, meaning all the resources that they need and want from Russia, and Russia not really getting a whole lot back in return. That would not surprise me one bit. And Russia, if they are so focused on just, being in the media and getting attention, they're going to end up in a world of hurt through this relationship that they have. And so that's my take on it right now. And, as new information comes in, we'll keep analyzing the data. But this point, really, that's what I see happening now. Some might think, well, okay, that's like political commentary. Why does that even affect, or how does that even have any connection with economics? Economics touches everything, including politics, because policies and political ties, those affect how an economy works in an individual state and or in the global economy as a whole. So this relationship that they have, the trade war that they have with that China has with the U.S., these are all variables that actually affect the flow of trade in the global economy. So this is why it's important. This is why it's being discussed. Because quite frankly, if it didn't have some sort of monetary impact in the long run, no one would care, no one would discuss it. But because it does actually influence how the flow of goods and services go in the global economy, it matters. So this is why they're discussing it. This is why they're looking at it closely and keeping, their finger on the pulse there, because it does have an impact economically, and not just against the U.S., but in the whole globe. So China is probably going to, again, I would not be surprised if they continue to ramp up their relationships that they've already established with the other BRICS countries, so Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, if they don't strengthen those even more. And if we're not careful, there's going to be a repeat of the 90s all over again. And so where the U.S. really neglected to kind of pay attention to the emerging markets, and China did not, and they courted those other economies pretty heavily, which is how the BRICS, that kind of block, came about. And so if we're not careful, from the US standpoint as well, then we're going to be in world hurt later on down the road. So anyways, we'll discuss that as things unfold, but this will be a very interesting development to see as time progresses. So, all right, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Tell me what you think, yay or nay on the content, or however you view it. If it differs from my views, great. Just let me know what you guys think and we'll go from there. All right.